been reading the instructions, and there's not a lot to it, it seems. So I'm going to try to play through this as I learn it, and we'll see how that goes. There's only a couple of pages of instructions, and one thing I noticed, at night you have to flip over an event and something bad happens, and if you can't do it, you'll get fatigue. Now, in a 2-player game, you would use these 2 spaces first and then these, so that is 10 fatigue. In a 3-player game, you can only use one of these, but that's 3 times 4, that's 12. Then if you go to 4 players, you don't use these at all. Well, it's still 12, but you immediately lose some of your benefits. And then if you go up to the 5, which is what they recommend as the max, you get 15. So at 5 players, you get 15 chances. And at 2 players, even though you have these other 2 spots, you only have 10 mistakes. And if you fail an event at the night, or you fail a roll, because you only get 2 actions, that's 25% of your turn right there. So that seems just so difficult. So I'm going to be playing, I think, 3 players. 5 players might be just too much to worry about. So I'm going to look through these and figure out my starting characters. The rules say you can't, or you're not supposed to start your first game with this character, so apparently you have to find them and unlock them or something. So that leaves these 5, and I think I've looked through and I've chosen these. These 3 will get me a good distribution of skills. So 4, 4, 4, and then 3, 3. The strength will be a little weak, but if you look at this guy, Haggis Brown, during an action in which you roll with strength, after you roll, you may turn 1 die to show a success. So that may help counteract the weakness in my strength area with my overall team. And then next, we have Susie Wildworth. Her ability says, as an action, you can try to roll this success, and if you do, you and other players on the same card as you can discard 2 fatigue in total. And being my first time playing, I think the ability to remove fatigue as an action is going to be beneficial. And then third, Jamie McMullen. Whenever you get 1 or more food from an action, you take an additional 1 from the supply. And I think that will be beneficial to the team. And each one has a little bio flavor text there. I'm looking on my monitor, and here this is red, fire engine red, and on screen it almost looks orange. And this looks lime on screen, but it is a darker green in person. So I don't know if you can tell those apart as well. But just to help, these, we'll get rid of that one, and this one doesn't show up as well with it being blue, so we'll just use these 3, and why not just do that, and let's open this up. This tells you, I believe, pretty much the same thing as what the instruction book does. There's card, the first number shows you it's for adventure 1, and this is the second card, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have different locations. We'll mix those up, place them there, floats them, and place it there. The hazard cards. These have great, pretty artwork, but you'll have to be careful shuffling them that you don't nick them, and then you'll mark the cards for future plays. But it is a co-op game, so it's not as big of a deal. But now it does recommend putting these down here beside camp, but I have my camp up there. It says to sort the rest of these cards by number, which they should already be numbered pretty much. So I'll just leave them alone. And put them back into the box. So we'll just do that for now. So this will be all for the first game. Another thing the first adventure card tells us is, based on the number of players, the hazard deck. So apparently you go cards 120 to 128 for the flotsam. Oh, here you go. Hazard cards 150 to 157, but with 3 players it's 150 to 158. So apparently with 4 players you get the same number of total fatigue minus a free one that does no effect, and 1 less penalty card, which is like the time tracker. So we have to add in the extra card, and then in a 5-player you have all the hazards. So here's 159. I'm not even going to look at it. It says to return it to the box, return this to the box, put it in the archive. I'm not going to worry about all that. I'll worry about trying to figure that out later. Now this is supposed to be a fully cooperative game, so you can suggest, hey, why don't you go here, why don't you go here? But it does say specifically in the rules that a player can say, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I'm doing this on my turn. And they can do their actions. Now you get 2 actions per turn, and they are designated with this red box arrow looking symbol. Okay, let's see if I can get that in focus really quick. And the way that works is, from what I understand in the rule book, moving your character is not an action. Taking one of these specific actions is an action, so you get 2. And when you're done, you are supposed to lay the character down to show that they are done for the day. But I'm going to play it a little differently to make it easier for the camera. I'm just going to flip this token over to show that they are resting when they are done. That way we can see the little meeples on camera a little bit better. Did a little rearranging and organizing. And one thing I do want to mention is at the end of every night, you bring all the characters back to camp. And anything that you've collected, you can all pool your resources and items and share them as you agree. Then you must feed the players at the end of the day. So each player must return a food. Now, you can do 1 fish or 1 meat from the supply. And if you don't eat or don't want to for whatever reason, you will take a fatigue token. And you must use it on your card. Now, you can always use a fish or a meat in place of a generic food, but this food, generic, will not replace a specific meat or a specific fish. So if we do run into an instance where it says, if you have a fish, you must use a fish if it says specifically. Adventure 1, first steps. Start with the following cards in play. We've done that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have washed ashore on a deserted island. Hopefully, you will find what you need to survive. You don't know anything about the weather here, or if there are any dangerous animals, so you should look for shelter and try to light a fire. The goal is to find shelter and light a fire. Let's quickly take a look at these cards. The beach says when you go there, you may draw 1 flotsam card. And if the flotsam deck is empty, you discard this card as well. Search for food. At the start of the game, put 10 food from the supply on this card. For an action, you may roll 3 dice. So doesn't matter which attribute you use, you're rolling 3 dice. And you get 2 food for each yellow, which is only 2 of the 6 sides of the die. When all the food has been taken from this card, discard it. Here we have build a shelter. Now that arrow at the top says to place or put 3 wood on this card, and that's just a kind of a free action, but it is a required action. So you must do that before you can take the other action. So I'm going to figure or assume that we need to go search and find some wood first, then bring it to this location, because it doesn't say like the search for food to place at the start of the game. So we can go get wood, then we can come here and for an action for each green success from skill or strength, put 1 on this card, which is a 50-50 chance on each die. At 6 or more successes, you discard the 3 wood and you take a fatigue, and then you flip this card over and bring card 105 into play. And that was the top card of the remaining deck from the opening setup that we stuck off to the side. Explore your surroundings. For an action, you may draw 1 place card and place it face up. And if there are 2 face up place cards, flip this card over, or you think of it as location. That might be easier to say, but there are the 4 starting locations. We will start by putting the 10 food tokens on there, and we will just start with, I believe, let's just start with Hagris Brown. We will send him to the beach, and for an action, it just says to draw and a flotsam card. Flavor text is, there is a lot of flotsam lying around. Maybe there's something useful. Well, let's hope so. Old planks, boards and planks. Now you can start something. Get 2 wood and discard this card. Nice. We will put that on his player board to show that he is the one that has that. And I think for the second action, let's just have him do that again. A sea urchin. Get this into focus. Ouch. You step on a sea urchin. Luckily, you didn't hurt yourself too badly, but you should be more careful. You get 1 fatigue and discard this card. Now, that is the first fatigue, and the first fatigue in a 3-player game goes over here. I guess you could think of this as having just 1 circle. Let me check the other side of the card just to see if they did that. No. I guess that was a good time to check, huh? So there we go. Now the next fatigue he takes, according to the rules, must go on his strongest attribute, and that is probably why everyone has a 4-3-2. And he has taken 2 actions, so he is done for the day. So what are we going to have Susie do? I think let's take her to the beach, and for her first action, she will just draw a card. An old propeller. With some wood, ingenuity, and a lot of hard work, you might be able to make a tool. Put 1 wood on this card. Roll your knowledge, and if you succeed, roll your strength. If you succeed again, discard the wood and this card to bring in 130. Nice. So she found an old propeller. We will set that there for now. And I think for her second action, she's going to take her board action. So she can try to roll a yellow success, which is only 2 out of 6, but she gets 4 dice. She got a yellow right there. She only needed 1. If you do, you and other players at your same location may discard up to 2 total fatigue. So, there we go. And now, we will send Jamie McMullen to get some food. It says roll 3 dice, so we don't get to choose our skill here. We simply roll 3 dice. And we want A yellow. Come on, yellow. Maybe we should have had her go earlier. Oh no, we failed. This is horrible. This is horrible. And since she failed the roll, she gets a lesson learned. And this will let you re-roll all the dice later when you try something. Try an action. But she has one more action. We're going to have her do that again. Let's get at least one yellow, but we need two. We really need two, but let's at least get one. There's one. She gets 2 food. Someone will go a little hungry tonight. That is her turn done. Everyone returns to camp with all of their supplies, materials. And I think I'm going to have Susie hand the propeller off to Hagris. Because if you notice, first you have to roll on knowledge. If you succeed, roll strength. So you have to first do the knowledge. Then you roll the strength, and if you succeed again. And he lets you re-roll on the strength. And if you fail on the knowledge, nothing happens. You just, where she could probably succeed on the knowledge, she might fail on the strength. So I think it would be better to let him have that. The 2 food will go here. Unfortunately, I'm going to make Susie suffer because she can hopefully heal herself of that. And then we get to the end of night phase, the hazard phase. During the night hazard phase, each player will draw 1 hazard card from the deck, and you get to choose the order you're going to do it in. They fully resolve the hazard card, so let's just start and go in order, because why not? Ants. You never suspected that these little creatures could cause so much grief. Discard half the group's food rounded up, but meat and fish are not affected. Well, we don't have any. For each success of skill or knowledge that you roll, discard 1 fewer. Well, he doesn't have to worry about that because we don't have any food. That card is resolved. On to Susie. So now it's Susie and, oh, it's another ants. So we already know about what that card is. So let's go to Jamie and A Quiet Night. It's been a long time since you slept so soundly. For a moment you thought that the shipwreck was just a bad dream. Nothing happens. Well, come on guys, easy game, right? Yeah. Okay, let's wake up and figure out what we're going to do. Now, we have 2 wood. So I think for the free action, he's just going to take a wood and put it right here on this. And let's try this. For 1 action, he gets to roll his knowledge, which is only 2 dice. But he needs 1 green, which is 50-50 on each die, and he gets a green. If you succeed, you can roll your strength, which is 4. There we go. If you succeed again, discard the wood and this card and bring in card 130 into play. So I'm going to discard that card. I'm going to grab that stack of cards that we had earlier and just slide through. There we go. Let's see what we get. It's an axe. When you have this, your strength is increased by 1 to a maximum of 5. That is nice. An axe, not too bad. For a propeller, a branch, and 2 left hands, necessity is the mother of invention. So, Hagris has created an axe. Now, for now, he has the axe. He can give it to someone else if he wants, but we'll just let him hold that. And he still has another action left. So, for his second action, let's go back and draw a flotsam card. Ooh, a personal item. A necklace, an amulet that you bought before you left. What a coincidence that it washed ashore. Discard this item to re-roll any number of dice in any roll. Found again. So, that little flag icon at the bottom just means that we have completed one of these events. And let's see if I can find it. So as I was looking for this, here it is on the collector, found again. Now, if we achieve all 4 of those, we may unlock an advantage that we can use every time we play the game. So it's kind of like a roguelike in that, or a roguelite, that you can make yourself a little stronger. So you can replay this adventure, and if you have trouble beating it, then maybe with some of these benefits you could beat it. So that is found again. And for whatever reason, I didn't notice here on the axe, it says necessity is the mother of invention, and there is the flag. And if you look right here under builder, there it is. And earlier he stepped on a sea urchin, so he is really, ouch, he is really checking off those achievements. So he has taken both of his turns. Now I think I'm going to skip her for now because we want to make sure we have food. We are going to send her here. She is going to roll 3 dice. And we need a yellow. And we have a yellow, so there's 2 food. And we will let her use her. And actually last turn, I need to rewind this, and I can actually fix this really easy. Whenever you get 1 or more food from an action, you take an additional food from the supply. So there we go. So last turn when we only had 2 food and she had to go hungry, she would have had a food. So I will take a food from the camp, discard it, and discard her fatigue. That will give her an extra action this turn. And I hate that I had to go back, kind of rewind and fix that, but at least I caught it before there was any problems to fix it. But there we go. Take advantage of her passive special ability. But now she gets another action. And what am I doing? I'm using the wrong token. I'm just all jumbled up here, switching between photos and recording. And let's just have her draw a flotsam card. Okay, box of supplies. Find a box of provisions from a ship. Opening it, you see it still contains some food. Get 1 meat and discard this card. Well, a whole box and you get 1 meat. That doesn't seem that amazing. But there we go. That leaves Susie. What is she? I tell you what. Let's have her do something a little different. She will go here, and for an action, she will simply draw a place card. Waterfall. You discover a beautiful waterfall. Bathing in its pool is so refreshing. So you discard a food and roll a die. And you get to discard fatigue based on what you roll. Not bad. Now if you notice at the bottom it says finally a bath. Another achievement. This says finally a bath. And in the rules, right here, it says that if the flag is in the action text, you only receive the milestone when you take the action. Now, remember the personal item, it says found again. This is in the text box, but it's not in a text for the action, because this says to discard the item to reroll dice, but the achievement is found again. And if you discard it, then how is that? When you found it, you got the achievement found again. So, to me, that would mean that finally a bath is unlocked because it's not in the action text, unless they're saying that since this box is an action, this whole thing is an action. So, I don't know. It would make sense because this actually says finally a bath and we haven't taken a bath, we've just found the waterfall. So, let's just play it that way. We found the waterfall, but we have not found the achievement yet under Explorer, finally a bath. But that is her first action. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do another location card or place card. A quiet place, an eerie silence hangs over this place. You sense a strange power. For an action, if you roll your knowledge, a yellow, you discard this card and you bring card 132 into the game. Interesting. We have 2 location cards on the table. And this one here says that if there are 2 face-up place cards, you flip this card over. Discover the island. Having explored your surroundings, you must now move inland. To do so, you will need provisions. So for an action, you discard 1 food or get a fatigue. And if you roll a skill, you may draw 1 location card or place card and place it face up. But if you have the telescope, you succeed on a green. All right. And that is her second action. She is done for the day. Everyone will return to camp. And Jamie says, look at all this I have. And Susie says, I found an amazing waterfall in some eerie, quiet place. And Hagrid says, hey, I found this necklace and I made an axe. Time for the hazard phase. But silly me, I got in a hurry and almost forgot each person is going to eat a food. Now I'm just going to eat the generic food. Because if we get another ants card, we know that it won't affect the meat. And we're just going to go down the line and start here with Hagrid again. And we get mosquitoes. Roll an orange on skill or get a fatigue. Oh, okay. Well, his skill is 3. So we'll grab 3 dice, and that is just a 1 in 6 chance. And he does not, so he gets a fatigue. And he has no fatigue, so that will just go there. Now it doesn't say, I believe you just discard all of the hazards once you have fully completed them, because this is like your timer. So we're running out of time. Hunger pains. You wake suddenly from a dream about a feast, feeling ravenous. You have to eat something. Discard 2 food. If you can't, discard as much food as you can and get 1 fatigue. Oh no. Okay. Well, we know that she's going to get 1 fatigue. Now, the card does not say if you choose or if you can. It just says discard as much food. So I'm going to play it the hard way and say we lost that food. And since we didn't have 2 food to discard, she took a fatigue. That hurts. Okay, let's see about Jamie. Storm. A tropical storm hits the island. You are at nature's mercy. You are lucky to survive. Get 1 fatigue. And the campfire, turn the campfire over or pay 1 experience. Flip the torch and the campfire over. We don't have either one, so there we go. And there is her fatigue. So that is it for that night phase, and we are in a bad way. Let's start with Jamie again. I need to flip these over. Start with Jamie this time. Send her after some food. There we go. She gets 2 plus 1 because of her special ability. And for her third action, or second action, I'm sorry, let's draw a flotsam card, and we get driftwood. Broken branches and other pieces of wood. Definitely useful. Get 1 wood and discard this card. Okay. And that was her second action. Then let's send her there to draw a flotsam card. More driftwood. We'll just take that and more driftwood. One more card and she is done. Now there's 3 wood, 4 wood, but it's not all at camp. What is he going to do? I don't think he wants to try the quiet place. So let's just stick with this plan. Draw the last flotsam card and we get coconuts. Coconuts, they look delicious. Maybe if I was starving on an island, but no, they do not. Not for me, sorry. Get 2 food and discard this card. So he gets 2 food. The flotsam deck is now empty. So if the flotsam deck is empty, discard this card. So we're just going to have them all relocate to the camp. And he still has 1 action left. Now when it's talking about taking your actions, it doesn't say anything about moving being an action. But here, if another player, if you're on the location of another player, you may use their card for free, but they still retain ownership of it. But you can spend an action to move your figure to another figure's location so that player can give you one of his items. The other player must agree. You can't take an item against their will. So for an action, you can go to where someone is and take one of their actions when you're not in, or one of their items when they're not in camp. But that is, I don't know, that's strange. And would these count as, the resources count as items? I wouldn't think so, but we're going to say that he does not have the 3 wood to do that. So, what is he going to do? He could take a bath, and that would unlock that. I was thinking about having him just go get the other food, but I think I'm actually going to have him take a bath by discarding one of these foods, one of these coconuts he just got, to unlock that achievement check. So roll 1 die. And he gets a green, so he discards 1 fatigue, which was all he had. That's fine. He took a bath. So we could say, finally a bath. We have checked that off. And that was his second action. It is time to come back to camp, pool our resources. There we are. And everyone must eat. 1, 2, 3. And now it is time for hazards. Start with Hagris again. Unexpected wave. Unexpected wave. As you stroll along the beach, you are caught by an unexpectedly strong wave. Roll strength and get a red or an orange, or get 1 fatigue. Well, lucky for us and Hagris, with the axe, his strength is a 5. So, we only need 1 red. Come on. No, we will discard. Do I want to? It's just 1 fatigue. I tell you what. I think we want to save that for the end game. He will just take a fatigue. He just took a bath and now he took another bath. So that is discarded. Time for Susie. A quiet night. We've seen this one. That we like that. Nothing happens. And then homesickness. The sun makes you think about your old life and your friends, and you fall into a deep melancholy. Roll knowledge, and you need 2 yellows. If you fail either, you discard 1 food or get a fatigue. So, her knowledge is 3. Let me show you this again real quick. This symbol is the face or head, the thinking. So that means look at your knowledge. And since there's 2 icons, we need 2 successes and since there's 2 yellow icons, we need 2 yellow rolls. So 3 dice. Let's see. Whoa! Don't have to spend our experience. Don't have to use his personal item. She snaps out of the melancholy and is fine. That is it for that phase. So I think we are going to do this. And let's just give him the 3 wood. I don't know if he has to personally have it on him or if this action just lets us put it there from our camp reserve. The first thing I want to do is have her go here and try the knowledge challenge. And she succeeds. It says discard the card and bring card 132 into the game. So we will discard this. And there is card 132. Let's take a look at that. A talisman. You realize that this place must be a shrine. You take a small stone with you as a talisman. You may discard this item to prevent a hazard's effect. Well, we're in game, so it won't matter. But lucky charm. So we could check that off if we wished. I was really hoping that was going to be a shelter of some kind. And so now I'm wondering if I need to go here. So let's discard a food so she doesn't have to take another fatigue. And reroll for skill, which is only 3. And I need a yellow, since we do not have the telescope. And she does not get it. I think we're going to have to save that. So I think she's just going to have to take her lesson learned. She got lost in the woods, perhaps, and she did not find any kind of new locations. So she is done. Or maybe she was too busy playing with that talisman stone and she wasn't paying attention and she just ended up back at camp. Alright, so let's go ahead and have him try to build a shelter. So for free action, put 3 wood on the card. So you must first put the 3 wood and then skill or strength. So he has a strength of 5. So for his first action, he gets absolutely none. So now I think I will, unfortunately, discard his personal item to re-roll all the dice. And he only got 1. Wow. During an action in which you roll with strength, after you roll, you may turn 1 die to show. So there we go. He got 2. So for each success, put a check on the card. 1, 2. That's his first action. Second action. Come on, Hagris. 2 more. And during any action in which you roll strength, you may turn 1 die to a success. He's 1 short. 1 short. But he is done with his actions for today. So that leaves Jamie. So let's send Jamie over here. And she can use her skill, which is a 4. Does she want... I don't think... I don't think she's going to use it because she still has one more action, and we're done. If you cannot draw a hazard card, you lose the game. So you lose when a player gets fatigue and they're fully fatigued and get another fatigue marker. Or when you need to draw a hazard and you cannot. Well, we are out of hazard cards, so this will be the last day action. So we might as well use her second action. Save that experience point. I don't know if it'll make any difference at the end of the game. And she gets 3 successes this time. That is more than enough. And it does not say that you have to use an action to do this part. It just says that when you get 6 or more. So there's 3, 6, 7, 8. I was really hoping he would be able to pull it off by himself, but he was 1 short. So when you have 6 or more, you discard 3 wood. You get 1 fatigue, and we will give that to her, and it must go on her highest skill point. And then you flip this card over and bring card 105 into play. Shelter. Your shelter affords you little protection. You'll have to find some better place, but it's enough for a short rest. So they have built a shelter, and for an action you can discard 1 fatigue. It says this isn't a safe shelter. Keep searching. Well, that was her second action, so she is out of actions. But it said to bring in card 105. Light a fire. A roaring fire would be lovely and would let you cook food. For an action, you discard a wood, and if you roll a yellow knowledge, you flip this card over, and you bring card 106 into play, if it is not already. So that is all the actions. They would return to camp, and they would have to eat food. We have no food. So everyone would take a fatigue. 1, 2, 3. And then we would draw a hazard card, and we lose the game. So looking back here, find a shelter and light a fire. We did not get the fire lit. That was our next objective. So I took 1 turn too late to build the shelter. I should have probably perhaps had Susie do that, and then Jamie could have done that. We had the piece of wood. We could have won on our first attempt, but I was stupid. But let's see what we do. It says read card 198 if you lose. Well, we have to count this as a loss. And it is right here. So let's take a look at that. Filled with despair, you give up all hope of ever finding your way home and accept that you will remain on this island forever. But try again. There is a lot to discover on the island. When you complete an adventure, you will add a new set of cards to the game. Ah, cool. I did notice on these that are sealed, which is pretty cool, it says reveal this card when opening this pack, after opening this pack. And so you only do this when you are told to. So that is pretty cool. And I've made sure that anything that had like writing on the back of it, I didn't read it. I'm trying to keep it a secret. that is why I didn't know. I should have done this a turn sooner. This would have been a fire. Even though the card was setting off on the side on top of the pile, I tried not to look at it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not a hard game to play, but from what I've heard about it, it's a hard game to win. I think we did pretty well, considering that was the first try. We almost pulled it off. So now I'm going to try and figure out how to rebox this. Since we lost, it should be pretty easy. I should just be able to keep all the cards stacked in the proper order and then put them in the box. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and it is well worth the leftover clearance sale price I got for it. And it is co-op. You can play solo or 2 to 5 players. There are 6-player sheets, but like I said, they recommend to not use this one until I guess you've unlocked him. Maybe they should have had him in a little envelope or something, or had several different ones. At the end of the day, roll a die, and on a green, you don't need to return food to the supply. So he doesn't have to eat every night. That's pretty cool. Reroll 1 die once per action, and you may receive and spend experience points when rolling for hazard cards. Oh, that's pretty cool. So if you notice, they got some experience points. He can also earn them or spend them when resolving hazard cards. Of course, you cannot receive it on a card and then turn around and use it immediately for the same card. But that's pretty cool. So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty fun. I like the way some of the cards disappear and some appear and things expand. And every turn, I felt like I wanted one more action, or I was always, so close to being short of goods. And I know it's going to get harder and harder. And I really think that is why they're doing this metagaming roguelite stuff to help you out. For instance, if you find all these collector items, then you get to start each game with 3 food in your camp. Well, there you go. First night taken care of. You don't even have to go get food. So it's just to make each playthrough easier. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You could just play from scratch every time. You can adjust the difficulty. You could, even if you wanted in a 3-player game, you could say, you know what, we're going to use all of those. We're going to use all of these just to make it a little bit easier on us. You could do that. So yeah, it's not getting all the good buzz and stuff I thought it would, because it is a neat little, simple to learn, adventure-y dice rolling game. Yes, there's a lot of luck. Yes, it's some randomness. Yes, it's difficult, but I don't know. It's really cool. I like it so far. I may come back and play this again in the near future, but I don't know if I'll do the zooming in and out, doing the photos. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know in a comment if you'd like to see me play through again. I can use same characters. I can use different characters. I can use different number of characters. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I would like to play this with other people and see what they think. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.